I was talking in last week's podcast about how we can increase our tolerance levels when we have created a life that is very comfortable and we start to think out of the box or stretch that way of living. And without realizing, sometimes we're living within a tolerance that we have created, a tolerance that maybe has been passed down from other people's opinions or what other people are doing. So we start to think that that is the benchmark, or it can be kind of what we earn or the amount of time we spend towards a certain task. Yeah, it's a really interesting concept about tolerance and what we think is achievable and what we think is available to us. And I just wanted to share a little bit more on that this week because I've been going through my 7 Key program with an amazing, amazing group of people. And we are working through these 7 steps that I've created, which are mindset, why we do what we do, and my why is plastered all over my wall. Then we turn that into what we do. The output of our why is what we do. And then we relate that to people. So we start to look at who is related to that type of work that we're creating. And we're just moving into the where this week, thinking about where we could put ourselves, our work for maximum impact. And then we move that towards how we create connection, how we stand out from the crowd, how we connect with our people, and then how we take action on that. And that's the 7 keys. And we're in the early stages still of the 7 keys of looking at our mindset and looking at what gets in our way when we think about the type of artist we want to be or the kind of life we want. And we've started to think about why we do what we do and what makes us curious and what fills our heart and what really kind of stands out as being areas that we want to explore more of. And that is in terms of creativity, but life as a whole too. And so with that, I've been really thinking about how I would like to live my life when, like 5 years from now. I've been thinking when we get United Artspace to a certain level and a certain income level, and what would that look like, and how many lives would we be impacting, and what would the team look like, and what would I be paying myself, and what life would I be living. And it's been a really interesting exercise to do, because then I started to think about, well, I'll do these things in 5 years. This is a 5-year goal. And I was thinking, but why am I making that 5 years? And it's really a concept that I'm exploring this week, because I feel that I have in my head that these goals that I'm creating must be 5 years from now. And a lot of that is because, one, I'm protecting myself because I feel like they're really big and scary. And so, let's put them way into the future. And the other is probably because I don't actually really believe that it's achievable now. And so I've stretched them out far. And I was just thinking this week about the things that we really want to do. And if we've put a big time limit on it, why not now? And it's something that I've been asking myself of this bigger goal that I've created of me in 5 years' time. I've been asking myself, why not now? Why not this year? And some of it is because it's crazy. It's like, way, way off. But a lot of it, I've been asking myself, if I did it now, what does that look like? And so there was an example of this, which is going to Mindvalley University with my children in Estonia. So Mindvalley is an amazing company that have this great app, which is all related to mindset and achieving. And so I subscribe to that, and they have this university for children that's on every summer in the summer holidays. And it was like, I would love, that's a dream for me to take my children there. And again, I was thinking in 5 years' time, I'll take them there. And so I thought, why am I putting it off for 5 years' time? So I've started to actually just look into it. So for me, that was like a big, big goal. And I've started to actually look into, when is it on? How much would it cost? Where would we stay? And I realized that it was in Estonia, and I know somebody in Estonia, and I reached out to my friend in Estonia, and he said, well, I get tickets to go. It's like, I was like, oh my gosh, because he's going to speak there. And I was thinking, isn't it interesting how we can put things off as like this big thing, this big unachievable, unattainable, far out of reach goal that's maybe in the backs of our minds too. And actually then when we start to explore it, we get closer. So I feel like I'm much closer to it now. And I'm thinking, this doesn't have to be in 5 years' time. We could do this next year together. And I've got a contact there, and I can see how this is starting to unfold already. And that was just from paying a bit of attention to this dream that I have of taking my children there and thinking this could actually happen. And so it got me thinking about the other areas that I've been putting off. And so I have this dream to hire a certain role within the team that handles sales and marketing, because that's all on me. That's my role. And how recently in times online, things have got harder in terms of marketing and it's more complex now. And we've grown too. So when I first started out and it was just me, it was kind of, I was just focused on one platform and it was much more simplified. And now we've grown and we have a magazine and a podcast and a book and different courses and events. And it's like, wow, we've grown. And now wouldn't it be amazing to have a kind of sales and marketing person that could help me with my role, and so I could focus on other things and I can expand my role. And again, that just felt like such a ludicrous kind of far out of reach position to have in United Art Space right now. And I was then thinking, but why? Why am I putting this off? And so the next step there for me was to actually create the job role. And so last week I was working on creating that job role of that perfect person that could come in and pick up that role, and what would that look like. And I had a meeting with somebody here in the UK. There's lots of available resources, especially for people in business, and that means artists and creatives too. And so I have access to an amazing business coach for free, and it's available to lots of people. And again, this is the thing, when we start to put on our radar what it is that we actually want and who could help us and who could help us get there, that's how I've managed to find these business coaches and all this support, which is what we're doing in our 7 Key program. Because when you get clear on where you're going and what you want to do and who could support you and help you along with that, that's when the doors open. That's when I started to think about the Mindvalley. Who could help me? Oh, there's Tanel in Estonia. And I'll reach out to Tanel. And then when I was thinking about hiring somebody, I reached out to my friend Rachel, who I know could help me with the hiring process and just how that looks. And then when I've started to break down how we would actually pay for it, and I realized that makes me very nervous, and actually I've got a lot of mindset blocks around hiring somebody and the commitment and the responsibility, and so I've been working on the mindset around that, and how if we saved some money to one side to pay their salary, how within 3 or 4 months that role should then start paying for itself because it's a sales and marketing role. So it's just all these ways of thinking out of the box and thinking, rather than wait for these things to happen or wait until I'm ready in 5 years' time. I've just been really asking myself, why not now? And what do I need to do now to start making these things happen? And there have been some really bigger things too, a big trip that I wanted to take. And I'm actually now just starting to look into these trips, and they feel absurd. One of them is taking my children to Bali for a month and booking them into kind of like a summer camp and school there. And it's always been a dream to do that. And it feels so far out of reach. And I'm again questioning, but why? And what would that look like if we did it sooner? And I've got a friend who goes out to Bali, and I've got friends who live in Australia. And so I'm reaching out to my friend who goes to Bali, asking their advice. I'm actually starting to inquire about these things that seem absolutely crazy and absurd. And I've just done it for the big things, not for the small things right now. I'm just in a phase of exploring some of the big things that I keep putting off. Those big goals or those big dreams that you just put off year after year after year because you just think they're so far out of reach, and they maybe sit in the back of your mind, like living in Bali for a month which seems a lot of hard work to organise. I'd have to take the children out of school. Is it really just a fantasy? I'd have to fund it, So you have this kind of dream of, oh yeah, that would be nice. But then you maybe paint this picture of, but this, but this, but this, but this. And so you never ever take action on it. And so, like with the Mindvalley thing, I came across it and thought that would be nice. So I've been really connecting recently with those parts that have a dream where I just think that would be nice, and thinking in the future, why not now? And so I encourage you to think the same. It's been a really lovely exercise. And here's the thing, if you don't do it now, it doesn't matter. With all of this, I think a lot of people stop themselves from dreaming because they think, oh, I don't want to get my hopes up and then let myself down. And again, it's just a mindset thing, because it really is a case of, if I set my sights on going to Mindvalley University with my children and we don't go, it doesn't matter. And I think this is part of a healthy mindset, is knowing that these rules that we place on ourselves, and being careful that, I'll set myself up for failure. I'll set myself up for this. What will it look like if I say that I want to go here and then I don't? But it doesn't matter. It's getting to a place, and I say this flippantly now, I think, because I used to care, and I used to care about what people thought, and I used to worry about setting a goal and not hitting it and then being very disappointed. But I've got myself to a place now, a really healthy place, where I can set big goals and actually just use them as a direction to go in, and not actually base my happiness or my success or anything on achieving it. I play around with these concepts because I think it's fun, and I just think, let's just have a play around now with creating a job role and see where it takes me. And if I don't hire that person, it actually doesn't matter. And because I've learned something from doing the job role and going out and meeting Rachel, it's not a waste of time. And reaching out to Tanel to talk about going to the university for children in Estonia, and reaching out to my friends saying, and I have been saying that I am going to take my children to the university in Estonia. Like, I'm not even saying, oh, I'm thinking about doing this. I am saying I'm going to take my children to Bali for a month. And again, if I say it and it doesn't happen, it doesn't matter. But I find that when you say something with conviction and you say, yeah, I am going to hire this next person, I'm going to make it happen, you've got more chance of making it happen. Rather than say, oh, I might, you're reducing the chances completely. I'd rather say that I'm going to make it happen and have a bigger chance of making it happen. And then there's a smaller chance that it might not happen. It's just playing around with probability and these crazy ways of living in this world. And so, yeah, I wanted to just share that with you and just ask yourself if there's something that you keep putting off, or you think, I'll do this when I retire, I'll do this when I've got money, I'll do this when I've got more time. If there's something that you keep saying and you keep making excuses for the reason why you can't do it, my children are in school, I can't do it now, maybe just bring it forward and ask, but why? And how could I make it happen now? And why not now? And maybe just play around with it and start inquiring about how you could actually make it happen. It's good fun. I'll leave that one with you. I'd love to know. Let me know over on social media if you listen to this, and you can tag me at United Art Space too if you have a dream that you've been putting off and you think, I'll wait till XYZ, and you maybe want to bring it forward to today. I'd love to hear from you. Let me know. Okay. Have a wonderful, wonderful week, my friends, and I'll see you next week. Bye.